Hey y'all.
Hi.
It's so good to see your face and to talk about GH. I basically have wanted to talk about GH with y'all since last week Sunday when we stopped recording.
Yeah.
Like that's how long.
Just
I'm
wanted
like,
to
I didn't
continue
say,
the
I didn't
conversation.
say. Yes,
Just one more thing.
yes. But one more thing turns into like an hour for us. And so I said, let me hold it, you know?
Yes.
You know? So this week we're gonna just do something a little bit different because we know that Sydney Mikayla just wrapped up her run. And so Sprina, the OG Sprina, is we are gonna talk about like how that was closed out. And like the spaces that we did a goodbye Sydney Mikayla space, talk about that up top before we get into the recap and the rest of the show. Also, Pisces season has been really busy for friends of the show. So first, want to say happy birthday to Britt who listens, and hope that you enjoyed your day. And also, congratulations to Javier who just had a new little one. So as we close out Pisces season, we have lots to celebrate and lots of good stuff. And so, processing our Sprina Trina feelings with the departure of Sydney Mikayla from the role. I am surprisingly at a better place than I thought I was going to be. I was devastated, obviously, by the way they closed it out, but it was so beautiful. The performances were so good. I know y'all have a lot to say. So, Sandra, Tanya, what did you feel about the performances and the way that the arc wrapped up?
Well, just overall beautiful work from Sydney and from her final scene partners. I loved that the last scenes were with Portia and with Spencer. It felt really appropriate, both because like those are two of my favorite Trina relationships, and they're also like relationships that are in conflict with each other, and we also know that there's so much ahead for those relationships and the conflicts, and so there's both like really important closure for us as viewers, like seeing Sydney play out those beats, but also knowing that she's actually planting really important seeds for Tatiana and the way that that will move forward. So it was really bittersweet, and I really loved seeing like the kind of two sides of Trina in those scenes. With her mom, we got to see, you know, her really loyal and compassionate side, like the side that wants to see the best in everyone. Both like it's the side that we see her play with Spencer, but it's also the side that we've seen her play with Ava, right? Like believing that people can change and that the past doesn't dictate the future. But then we also got to see like her strength and fortitude of holding strong, despite Spencer's very heartfelt and desperate pleas at Spring Ridge. So just overall, it was maybe not all the things that we ever wished for. You know, like there were so many things that we wanted to see. I think Sydney and Nicholas play out that we won't. And I still felt like it was really emotionally satisfying and kind of similar to you, Tracey. I feel in a better place than I was expecting to be. And I'm still like, whew, you really wanted to hurt us, didn't you?
You know, I will say the hard, like the push and pull or like the beauty of like the Sprina relationship for me, and I think I said this at the top of the spaces, which so we did a spaces on Twitter. I think I figured out how to download it. We're gonna see. Y'all know I'm not that tech person, but we're gonna see. And Sydney actually popped in for a little bit of it. So shout out to Rodrigo from the chat who was able to like get Sydney there and let Sydney know that it was happening. We also posted the video for her and used the hashtag thank you Sydney. So if you ever want to see something really, really beautiful, go through that hashtag. I'll leave the Sydney video as our pinned tweet for a while. like maybe to like Wednesday or something so people can see it if they'd like. But we just did like a letter of our hopes to Sydney. And I think people don't know that like we started the podcast really because of Sprina. Like, you know, I had been talking to Tanya online about GH for a while. The first time I saw one of Tanya's GH tweets, I like thirstily went in her mentions and I was like, oh my God, you watched this? Let's talk. And Sandra and I have been talking about, like, I came back, I had stopped watching during the Franco, Sam, Jason, baby storyline because I just was like, nope, y'all have ruined this for me. And I actually came back when Steve Burton came back. And so a lot of the stuff in between I had to catch up on over YouTube. And so I was really inspired to like podcast and talk more about it once we had Sprina, because it was like, oh my God, this is an amazing relationship. I want to talk about it. And it was so amazing because I love both the characters of Spencer and Trina individually. And so to have them come together was really special for me. I don't think I've ever had a ship like that where I've liked both of the characters so much individually, which is why like some of the angst and the push and pull is so hard. Cause like if I didn't like Spencer, I'd be like, girl, go away, get away from him, right? Like I wouldn't be bought into like the ways that he behaves. But seeing Trina stand up for herself, I think the part that impacted me the most was her talking about how she wasn't going to give up her dreams and her hopes for him. And I was like, damn, I wish I would have been that smart as like a freshman in high school or in college to know that I shouldn't be giving up my dreams and hopes for somebody, no matter how much I like them, how much we connect, what the connection is. Like just seeing her put herself first, I think was just like the perfect bookend for Trina's or for Sydney's Trina. Yeah. What about you, Tanya?
Oh my God, that just brings up for me the parallel between Trina and Sydney, because Trina is putting herself first and so is Sydney. She's putting herself first. And I know as much as she enjoys being on General Hospital, enjoys being a working actress, she knows right now she needs to focus on living her best life while she's in college. And so it's almost like a real nice little parallel to end the show on. So I thought that was pretty amazing. Yeah, what for me, I think Sprina or Trina and Sydney, they both really put an element for me, a way that I can see myself into the show, and particularly in terms of our culture. She really represented, not to say that she was trying to represent our culture, because that's really hard to do because we're so wide and varied, but I really felt a lot of myself in her, and I can see myself in my culture. Her and Portia, they really do that for me more than any of the actors on the show. And I really enjoyed that. I'm hoping that Tabiana can also do that too as well. I'm just a little sad that Sydney can't see this storyline through because she's invested so much in it. And I want her to be vindicated in the fact that I believe that she's going to be the one person to really change Spencer in this. And she's the hope of the show and the hope for Spencer. And to not have Sydney be able to see that through is really sad for me. At the same time, I'm still happy for Sydney. So it's kind of like mixed feelings. I'm also excited just to see the new element that Tabiana brings. So like, I'm kind of in mixed, you know, I'm a little sad, but I'm not too sad, but I'm anticipatory. And I think the writers or the editing team actually ended it in a way where we now understand why Trina might not be on the scenes for 2 weeks or 3 weeks while the show catches up, because now she's like, okay, I'm staying away from Spencer. I'm going to focus on my schooling, but she's going to be pulled back in by the time PCPD catches wind of whatever, you know, shenanigans that Esme is trying to pull. And then, so I think it kind of ended a little bit well, like there's a pause here. So that's great. Yeah, I'm glad that you guys were able to have, Sydney on the spaces and be able to spend some time with her and to say goodbye. Did she, has she been able to see the video? Do you know?
Yeah, she responded to it. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. I'm glad she was able to get that send off and that goodbye. It was really sweet and beautiful. Tracey, thank you for coordinating and writing. It was really nice and wonderful to be a part of. Oh,
My
and
favorite was your
Sandra
auntie
for editing.
vibes.
Oh,
yes.
thank you, Sandra, for editing out that too. Yeah, my auntie.
We were like
Yes,
late
Ma.
night parties and straight
And,
A report cards. Sydney,
like,
don't let us.
Like,
It was
don't be
honestly my greatest pleasure to edit, especially every time I listened to that clip of you, Tanya. I was cracking up. I was like, that is peak auntie, and that is peak Auntie Tanya. I was like, you better be getting, I want you to have fun, but don't forget about your grades.
Yes, as a UC alumni, I need you to represent, get your good grades and get your party on. So, yeah.
I think, another thing that really for me was so important, at the part where Spencer is such a mess, but where he was like, you want me to break up with Esme for you? I really appreciated that she was like, nah, for you, because so often it's like there's like this trope that they've like allowed Sydney's Trina to like escape, which is that like she's actually not going to be the person who shoulders all of this burden. So like I think that she will inspire Spencer to change himself, but like that change can't just be because he wants to be with her. That change has to be who, like, what he is embodying before he gets with her. And I really appreciated that, and I didn't know how important that was until I saw it on screen. Because I was like, okay, I need like an angsty kiss, I need a goodbye, I need all of this. And I was sad that it didn't happen because I wanted to see it, but I was also really proud. I was really proud of Trina in that moment of standing in like this really powerful space where she was like, you might be cute and you might be a prince. An 18-year-old Tracey would have definitely been going, but 18-year-old Trina was like, no, 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 no. And it was just, it was like, what a lesson even for like 40-year-old women watching this show to like see this teenager embody so much power.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like there's a way in which in those moments where she was like, I hear you and I still need you to do this thing. And what Spencer said about it being really hard to change is so true. And like, we actually know it's not so easy for him to leave Esme for like reasons he doesn't even know yet. But in the end, he still has to save himself. No one's going to be able to save him from Esme but him. And there's a way in which Trina was modeling for Spencer what he actually needs to do. Like, she's removing herself from the situation that's not serving her anymore. And he has to do the hard work, and it's gonna be hard, excruciatingly hard to do the same. And I also love that, like, her last lines, both to Spencer, but also on the show, was, I hope that you live up to your potential. And I thought that was such like a beautiful send-off to also to Nicholas, because she is like passing the baton to him on this coupling. Of course, Fabiana is gonna, be doing a lot of the work too, but he's kind of the through line of the Sprina legacy. And
why would you say that?
I know. And you can tell how much Trina actually does believe in Spencer, and then parallel, how much Sydney believes in Nicholas. And that was very sweet in their goodbyes that they exchanged for our benefit. I know. Another
say, go ahead.
God, please.
I was gonna say, I also think that there was something There's like, for me, because I love Spencer, like I always remember so much of his history when he is like having conversations. And so when you think about like how it's hard for him to let Esme go, it's also like thinking about how he has been abandoned. And so it's not just like these like romantic feelings or whatever. It is that I don't want, like, he just like, I'm all she has. And so he knows what it's like to be in a position where somebody doesn't have anyone else. And so if it was just as simple as, oh, I don't really like this girl, I'm gonna send her packing back to her family, Spencer, would have been did that. But it's like this like hold that she knows she has on him and that she plays on him, that he will abandon her and she will be by herself. And I think that that is like so important to remember in his history and in his story and his arc, as to why it's hard for him to break up with her, even though he was real trifling, because he really had Esme plan that party. We found out he had Esme plan that Windermere party that he did for Trina. He had Esme do the guest list while he was on the terrace about to kiss her. My child, so trifling. And I love it.
Can we talk about the Sprina art motif? Because I have
Please.
Yeah. Romantic.
Yeah. When Trina busted out the book, that's when I knew they're really trying to hurt us. They're really trying to hurt us here. Because as we, most of us remember, that was the gift that Spencer had Laura give Trina on Valentine's Day. And it's like part of a larger art motif in the relationship, the importance of the gallery is their location in their, in their relationship. It's where they met. It's where Spencer gave up his fortune. It's where they almost kissed, and various other, exchanges happening at the gallery. But also their first real conversation in the park, which is one of my favorite Sprina scenes.
Yeah.
They're really like bonding over their mutual love of art. And that's like really the first time they have like a real connection that isn't just flirting. And we also kind of get to see depth from Spencer from the first time, like just not having him being like a scheming little asshole. And him asking who her favorite impressionist is, which then like set us up for this whole gift. And so like the gift also facilitated us seeing what's going on in the Sprina relationship while they've been apart, right? Like we got to see the softness with Laura, and then also both of them defending their relationship and like kind of dodging accusations from Joss and Esme. And so when she brought it back, I was like, okay, we're doing this. And so like all the other conversations they had in the week, people were basically just calling them out for what's really going on between them. And so when they're finally together, they're still avoiding it, and they hide behind this extended metaphor of the book. Trina talks about how the book made her feel closer to the artist, but also exposed his flaws and how little he had developed in the last couple decades of his career. And then Spencer references their past conversation at Kelly's from December when she said that he was perfectly imperfect. You told me that frailty makes us human. Isn't there beauty in someone's imperfections? But Trina again hits him with the, yeah, but you got to live up to your potential, which is something she also talked about with Portia to defend Spencer. And, kind of through that metaphor, Spencer asks for more time. If it were really that easy, wouldn't the whole world be filled with happy, fulfilled people? And that's also a big moment when Esme overhears and makes that decision. I mean, clearly she was going to call the cops all along, but like that's her motivation. He's basically saying like, I would be happy if I would just do what you could do, but it's not that easy for me. And then the final words that he had to Trina about her being like the color palette in the book. Rich, fun, exciting, fresh. And if you walk out on me, my world will turn gray.
I definitely was like the gift of the person being like I was very affected. Like I was very affected. It was I mean it was like the words, but it was also the physicality that Nicolas Chavez brought to it. It was like the clutching of the book, the slumping of the shoulders. And to be honest, that's also why I feel better than I had about what new Sprina will bring us, because so much of it, Sydney has always played Trina very close to the vest with her feelings for Spencer. So there's like obviously like that heat and that really like amazing chemistry they have, but a lot of it is Sydney holding back Trina's feelings for him, and like you'll get a moment and then she'll recover and she'll be holding again. So I think about the scene that they had in Kelly's where she was like, want to make things interesting and she's kind of flirty. And then he went there, he was like, oh, if we're going there, we're definitely going there. And she had to like recover and pull back. And so I think that gives a lot of space for Tabiana to come in, because so much of like what we have loved about Sprina has been, and not to take anything from Sydney's, I mean, obviously would never take anything from Sydney, but is like the devotion that Spencer has for Trina. Sprina wouldn't work any other way, considering, you know, like there's a bunch of different elements that make Sprina work, and the devotion is like a big one. And we see that devotion whether Trina's in the scene with him or not. And so we're going to still see that devotion with a new actress. And so that physicality he brought to it made me be like, okay, I can see how new Trina will work, and that we don't have to like have a new person come in and be over the top with their emotions for him, because she's never been over the top with her emotions with him before. And so it really sets them up for like a new arc and a new way to be in relationship with each other.
Mm. Yeah. I'm curious to see how they will continue on with the art motif in the relationship, because they do still have like Spencer's gallery stuff. It's clear that Trina's future is at stake, as it's been mentioned quite a few times this week. And then the book, kind of like the closing scene of the arc for the week, and we'll talk more about the overall teen scene arc later on in the episode, but that he's looking at the book again. And it made me realize that in returning the gift back to Spencer, she's also giving him what she told Laura he would need while he was in Spring Ridge, like art to lift his spirit. So even as she's breaking his heart, Trina's still giving Spencer the things that he actually needs in order to maintain herself while still to better himself while still maintaining her integrity. And I love that one of the things that comes up in their relationship is that like art isn't linear, it's not logical, it's not an expression of what we can explain, it's an expression of what we can't explain. And so she can, like, it's more than the squiggles on the page that Joss sees. And there's something about how they see each other and they see things that other people don't see. And that art is also about transcending our current, circumstances. So there are so many reasons why Sprina shouldn't work. And yet there's something about their connection that invites them to transcend. And again, that coming of age story of who you are versus stepping into who they might become. And so I thought that leaving Spencer with the book is an interesting last shot of him for the week. And it makes me curious about what his next set of choices will be. I will say, Tanya, you're not going to get the break. We're going to see Trina again next week, but we'll talk more about that in spoilers.
Next week. Oh, so so Sydney's last day was probably a couple weeks back.
Yeah. They
Okay.
yeah.
Soap time.
Yes. We're gonna see. We'll see a scene with Tabiana, at least one, this week.
Oh wow. I was thinking we wouldn't see her for a while. So okay.
All right, well, let's get into it. I can do this recap so we can get forward with the show. Does that work for folks?
Mhm.
All right. Esme was busy this week. She used her bruises from Ryan to make it look like Carly attacked her. She stepped up her plan to get closer to Nicholas, who rescued her and took her to the hospital. When she sees Trina and Spencer having their friend break up, she plants the burner phone and she used to film Cam and Joss in Trina's purse and called in a fake tip to PCPD like a true barbecue Becky. She fought with Spencer, and we learned how far she would go to continue her manipulation of him. Cam visited Spencer at Spring Ridge as well. Spencer accused him first of filming the sex tape, but Cam said, "I am sweet and simple no more," and pushed Spencer even closer to understanding who Esme is. He also questioned Spencer's feelings for Trina. While Brad and Britt had an all champagne brunch, Selena Wu was at the Savoy trying to convince Curtis to let Brad run a poker night at his club. Jake skipped out on his session with the counselor. Elizabeth got some support from Drew while Jake runs into Finn and Monica. Finn takes him to an exam room and talks to him. Jake is tired of being blamed for what happened at Franco's studio and says that he would never terrorize his mom. When Elizabeth joins them, Jake admits that he's been talking to his grandparents online at the library and he didn't think Liz would forgive him. That is also timestamped, so we now know Jake is innocent. Which we always do. Anyway, Laura, Robert, and Sam and Dante met for lunch and talked about Victor. Laura's deputy mayor, who was in Victor's back pocket, made a scene and so Laura therefore told her that they did not believe that Luke's death was an accident and that they were investigating it, which she immediately went back and told Victor. Anna and Felicia were in Austria undercover to find out about the cable car accident that killed Luke and whether it was actually an accident. When they got close to uncovering the truth, an assassin sent by Victor tried to take Anna out. When he was taken down, he committed suicide by cyanide tablets. More mystery for us. Sunny showed up to Monica's house to talk to Michael and Willow about letting Nina see Wiley. Yes, Monica's house where he killed her son. Anyway, Nina had lunch with Ava and tells her that Sunny is advocating for her as well. Victor shows up and Nina questions why Ava is so nice to him. The Milo conversation does not go well. Monica showed up to see Sunny in her house after he killed her son and told them that she would be declaring Jason dead so his kids could have closure. Sunny reports back to Nina that he failed with Michael. He throws a tea set and grabs Nina's arm, scaring her. They talk it out. Romance. Apparently, no one cares about fake documents in the US government because Willow has her passport and Milo are headed to Paris finally. I'm a little mad they aren't really going, and it seemed like it was an excuse to say two French words very poorly, but here we are. A reporter tries to get comment on the sex tape from Jordan, and when that does not work, he goes to Michael. Michael is blindsided and punches the reporter in front of Jordan, who has to arrest him. Shout out to Jordan's face when she could not believe that he punched that reporter in front of her.
Right.
She was like, Willow attempts to call Carly, but she faints before she can talk to her. Dun dun dun. Chase bought Chase bought POQ her leftover things to the Q mansion. They talk about the awkwardness between them and BLQ's talent as a songwriter. Chase sings one of her songs from her book. I was not a fan of any kind of singing. It wasn't just Chase, but here we go. Alexis gets a warning from Sean about Harmony before he shoots his shot one last time, and she turns him down. Could not be me. Sean, a man. Drew set up a meeting with Victor so he could use the decoy tarot card while Sam and Dante set up surveillance. Victor tried to activate Drew and make him prove that he was under mind control. Carly showed up and blew the whole plan to both my annoyance and Sam's annoyance. And that was the week. What were y'all favorite moments from the week?
Let's see. Good moments. Well, we already talked about Sprina. I actually, I'm okay. I know people think Carly's annoying and all this stuff, but personally, I think Carly is thriving now. She was peak Carly all week, and I loved every second of it. I loved how she was attack dog mama. Even though I don't like that phrase that they use for her on Twitter, but she went after Esme and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed her butting into this, caper that Sam and them are trying to do and messed it all up. I enjoy her with Drew because she's like funny and light and everything. I enjoyed the crew scenes until she brought up Jason. And then I was just like, let me fast forward. Sorry, yeah. Laura, right? But I loved her in everything that she's been in this week. And she's thriving. I don't like her sad and depressed Carly or mourning over Jason, but I love it when she's fun and she's, going out drinking or going out, shooting the axe or, in fun and uplifting conversations with Drew. I love it when she's defending her daughter. I love all of that. So I'm seeing, in comparison, Carly is thriving and Sona is just depressing and so that's it. I love the scenes between Cam and Spencer. I think there were great scenes for the actor who plays Cameron because he got to tell Spencer the truth. Quit lying. You got a crush on Trina and Esme did this. Why are you trying to act like trying to defend her? I loved all of that. And those are pretty much my favorite, things for the week, I think.
Yeah. I unapologetically fuck with Carly. I used to feel like I would have to be like, hey y'all, I kind of like Carly. But no, she's a mess. And I love how messy she is. She is a disaster. And I don't feel like I need to defend her, which makes it fun to watch her. Like when she's a mess, I can be like, that shit was a mess. And I like it. So I feel you, Tanya.
As a Carly neutral person, I both enjoy talking shit when she's getting on my nerves and enjoy her mess when it entertains me. And her mess was consistent and entertaining this week. But the Jason of it all. The Jason of it all, but that we're talking about favorites. So I'm gonna talk about Jason because he could never. I loved, as much as the teen storyline is distressing me, like it definitely had my attention. Like I also love those Cam and Spencer scenes, always loved scenes between them. But I will say outside of that, I loved Anna and Felicia. There were so many great reaction gifts that came out of that. So much of like the fake crying from Felicia that was so extra. And all of Anna's reactions of just like, calm down. You have no chill.
Be cool.
Cool, man. And of course, her taking out that dude with the help from Felicia with the hot coffee, but like Anna having her little cheater glasses on her head while she's taking this dude out. I was like, is it hot in here? Or is this just Anna Devane? Oh, so good. So good. And I also just like love that little like spy moment Like when that guy started doing like something weird with his face, I was like, oh, he has a cyanide pill in his cheek. And like I love that little, like, because I also like spy stuff. So I love that little classic nod and how Anna was like, oh, I guess people still do that. Kind of referencing a lot of the really outdated technology on GH, or at least that's how I read it. So that was like the really standout moment for me, especially considering that that storyline was a little disjointed from everything else, but it was like the breath of fresh air that was needed in the middle of the week.
That's funny. I have that as like one of my things that was working, so I'll just add to that. The like Anna Devane and Felicia Scorpio team up. What could be better? The reaction gifts alone. I've been using the one where Anna turns around and does like the like so many times. It's just perfect, and it allows like Finola Hughes to just really be in her element. And like I don't know why this writing is so different, but because it's just like two powerful women taking shit on. Like I will just never not love a caper with like I miss Valentine, obviously. I miss Vanna, obviously. But there's something really special about Anna and Felicia, like being able to take that on in that way. And be funny and like cunning and all of the things that we know those two characters are. So for me, like such a highlight. And then just really quick, other favorite moments, Sam rolling her eyes at Carly. Sam has really just been giving us like the extra, like the rolling her eyes this week, that couple weeks ago where she like hit Dante, like, don't be giving her no ride. Like those like little extra moments is like Kelly Monaco just really being in her element and enjoying being back into the story. And I enjoy seeing Kelly Monaco always.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh, I loved Ava just dressing down Sunny in front of Nina. Like she's just like, oh, he can't be alone. He's one of those.
It was
just perfect. And then she was like, girl, I guess, congrats. You won him. Like it was just like the perfect girlfriend lunch banter. And Maura West and Ava can do like just no wrong for me. So those were my favorite points, those three.
I feel like Ava has so much like my kind of point of view about Sona, which is just like, oh, it's chaotic. Yeah, you can just be together, I guess. And like, why aren't you
together?
Just do it. Like, he's not shit. And I like when she said like, oh, he's one of those, I was like, I have been saying this about Sonny Corinthos for decades. Thank you, Ava. And also, I want him and Nina together because I'm tired of it.
I'm interested to see how Sonny fares without Jason, because there's a lot of like conversation about, and I hate when Carly brings up Jason. It's so weird. I'm so over it. But Carly is better able to function without Jason than Sonny is. So like if you think about, so right now we know we're about to head into like a beef between him and Michael. The last time he had beef with Michael, Jason was gone. Like this is what happens when there is no Jason to facilitate calmness between Sonny and his family. Sonny and Carly's whole fucking relationship has been facilitated by Jason. Carson is because of Jason. It was brought together because of Jason. They've maintained because of Jason. Sonny's business has maintained because of Jason. So we have allowed and seen Carly be super fucking annoying about Jason. Like I'm super annoyed about it. But the person who actually doesn't know how to survive without Jason is Sonny. And so I'm curious to see, like, as we go into like this next kind of phase of Sona, what that looks like for him. Yeah, I'm just curious. I saw like a spoiler about like Brick. I'm like, I mean, sure, Stephen A. Smith can come back, but that's not Jason for Sonny. You know, so anyway, I'm annoyed by Carly and Jason, always have been, but even, I mean, you remember like the Kate Connie relationship? That was held together by Jason. Like Brenda was held together by Jason. Like all of Sonny's relationships, the major things that have happened in his life have been held together by him. So we shall see.
So are you saying a Sonny-less Jason is one of the things that's not working on the show?
It is not working. And yeah, and I mean, like when they talked about, that's why it was always funny to me when they talked about like Carly's obsession with Jason or that she was in love with him. I was like, yeah, she was. They were definitely a circle. But Jason was definitely shared by Sunny and Carly in a very weird way. So anyway, performance of the week, Tanya, tell us.
Well, I think, I want to give my gift of performance of the week for Sydney. I mean, obviously she deserves it. She had a great week with her mom and with Spencer, and we're just sad to see her go. But I also, so yeah, let's give her a shout out. Then my runners up would be the mamas, Laura Wright and Brooke Kerr. They're the ones that, got a reaction out of me this week. I mean, I tweeted about both of them. I know I tweeted about Brooke Kerr because when, Trina told her that she was accused, Brooke Kerr got that mama look like, and then they cut it. And then she was like, oh, hell no, and all this other stuff. But that mama look, that got me. I was like, ooh, Esme in trouble now. So it was great. And again, I love, and I already talked about this before, I loved when Carly grabbed her and was like, look, you're not going to get away with this. You're going to pay and all this good stuff. I loved it. I love seeing the mamas be hella upset. And it may be inappropriate. I guess some people were like, Carly stepping in where she shouldn't. And yeah, maybe, but she should, because Esme is getting on everybody's last nerves, and even, Laura, I mean, Spencer's grandma was just like, girl, you need to change your attitude up in my house. And, all of that. It's just like, Esme's not getting reprimanded enough the kid and the teens are like, I mean, sure, Jocelyn gets in her face, but that's nothing. Esme's not cowed by any of that. I need people who she's actually a little afraid of to actually get in her face and be like, bitch, you need to calm down. And so I need somebody to do that now, because yes, it's intriguing that Esme's causing all these shenanigans, but I'm not liking that she's getting away with it. I need someone to snatch her face, snatch her wig. She's not wearing a wig, but somebody needs to do it. So I love that, Brooke Kerr and Laura Wright, they put on the mama performance this week, and I'm hoping we get to see more of that. Congratulations. My other runner-ups would be, Will and Nicholas. Love them with the Cam and Spencer scenes. So
yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, go ahead. Sorry.
Just a note on that, just noticing like the ecosystem around the Trina storyline. Those were like all the best, performances.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so another part of Sydney's legacy, even though she won't be playing out that storyline, like it's and as hard of this storyline is going to continue to be, she's really generated so much story for so many other actors. And so even bigger props for that.
Absolutely. I have a lot to say about the teens and about Esme particularly, but I will wait until we get into that teen scene. What is working for y'all? What's working for y'all?
I'll go first. So I think what's working, because I want to build off of what you just shared, Tanya, but also what I picked for my favorite moment, which was that women driving the action on the show. So we have like literally Anna and Felicia driving the action of the adventure storyline for the week. It was so refreshing, again, as we talked about before, like for Anna and Felicia to go and for Robert and Mac to stay home with the kids. Love it. Especially like GH has had such a problem over its entire history of having men be the adventurers. Like, of course, Anna and Felicia have been the adventurers in the past, but like in the more recent history of the show, it's really been like Jason, and before that Luke, or like some combination of both of them, like coming in, the unlikely anti-hero to come and save the day, and you know, whoever their partner was also being a part of that, some more than others. And I just really appreciated it being like an Anna and Felicia only caper, and I want more. I want Laura joining in, but you know, she has her priorities back in Port Charles, you know, navigating this Victor storyline. But I also appreciate this emphasis on the mothers in the sex tape storyline and how we're really seeing them step up. And there is a lot of foreshadowing that they'll play huge parts moving forward, which I'm so excited for. When Carly said to Esme, like, you're gonna have to deal with the mothers, I was like, yes, give it to me. Like, I want Carly out here throwing her billions around, trying to take, you know, actually like have the resources to take down this ridiculous plan. My God, please. But and also like Portia, I love how many times she said she wanted to slap the shit out of Esme. She was like, I want to slap her. Trina, you should have slapped her. I want to lay the smack down. Curtis was like, I would like to see that, but please don't do that. Like, I really appreciated how they're bringing like Portia in, how it's going to bring Jordan into, and so I just want to see, I'm just seeing more and more of that trickling in on the canvas, and like how much is possible when we get rid of Jason, when we get rid of Peter, like these male characters that took up way too much bandwidth and often also made our female characters look weak or stupid. So I just want to give big props for that, and like, please, let's continue down this road. We don't need a new Jason. We never did.
Especially since it looks like Esme is going to go down that I'm going to try to seduce Nicholas. I mean, apparently Nicholas is going to stay stuck on stupid, and you know, Ryan's going to be manipulating. You know, the men in that storyline are not going to be with it enough to catch Esme in her schemes. And so I agree with you. I hope that we see more of Carly and Portia digging in. I also want to see Ava in this too. I mean, Ava's kind of taken a step back. I mean, she's basically warned Esme, don't mess with her, but Esme is apparently ignoring that warning. And so that's why I can't wait for Ava to go in and get in that ass, because she will. And I'm just like, ooh, I can't wait for that to happen. So yeah, all of that is working.
You're here.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I'll say what's really working for me is Sante.
I was gonna say that too. So go ahead, girl, do it.
No, go. You go, and I will say what I have to say about Sante, because I have some shady stuff to say about other people.
I mean, obviously, you know, I am on some Dante crush right now, but I'm loving how Sam is calling him out on his ego and loving it and being like, why can't we go to Spinelli? Spinelli could help us. And Dante's just like, I don't, you know, and so she's calling him out, but she's also building his ego at the same time. I love it. I love them together. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah.
It was just my hot take for Friday. I was like, I'm loving Sante today again.
Yes, I was slow because I didn't want to be hurt again. You know what I'm saying? I knew they were bringing back Cameron Matheson as Drew Lavery, and I was like, they might try to put Dream back together, but it looks like they're not going that way. So I allowed myself to love again. As I've said many, many times, I am like an OG J. Sam fan. I started watching in 2003, so I liked them as a couple before before they were actually even a couple. They were like the first GH couple I shipped. So I loved Emily and Nicholas, and I liked other couples, but the first one I shipped was J-Sam. Even through her very unfortunate run as Sunny's mistress. but I've enjoyed Sam's relationships throughout the years because Kelly Monaco can make a lot work. But Dom is also just really good here. He has always bought a lot out of his scene partners, but most of his scene partners have either been Lulu or his family. So like his relationship and like the trajectory of his relationship with Sonny has been really amazing to see. Like the relationship he had with his brothers, with Morgan specifically, was like really great when Morgan was on. But we've not been able to see him as like this like love interest aside from Lante. And I understood the chemistry between him and Lulu, the first Lulu, Julie, but I was not on board when Emmy came. I was like, this is not it for me. And so I really felt like that kind of hurt the character of Dante a lot, actually, because he didn't have that good pairing. And so I really appreciate in Sante, we're actually able to see all of those sides that you said about him, Tanya. I know there's been a lot said about them not having their own storyline. And I hear that and I agree, and I'm also fine with what they're doing now. Because right now we get to see them build as a relationship. We get to see their chemistry now is not the same as their chemistry when they first started. And it's because they're like closer as scene partners. It's because we've gotten to see them work together more. They're on more. It was like last year we would see them like once a month, if that. Now they're like all up in the mix. And so I like them being all up in the mix and other storylines and then get their own storyline later. I'm hoping that I'm gonna cautiously optimistic that they will get their own storyline later, but I'm actually really okay with what they're doing.
And they add an extra entertainment level to all the other storylines too. It's like it's really interesting and funny. So, love it.
And very cute.
Well, versatile couple can do anything.
There
and I
you go.
appreciate that. It's so easy to weave them into storylines because they're both actually like very useful people and very important to a lot of different people. Sante, the power.
And it's also like a ship of two people I already like, which is, you know, like a lot of times people are either like bought off for other people or like you start liking them because of their relationship. But I actually individually like Sam and I individually like Dante. So having them together is very cool for me. Also want to say one more thing about shipping couples. I've said this before, I will say it again. You know, in the words of Jay-Z, I went through that. So hopefully you don't have to go through that. I was a monster on those message boards back in the day. I was a mess. I would defend the indefensible. So this is not me blaming anyone. This is me saying, be better than me. I'm basically telling you, don't be like me. Don't be like how I used to be. So I don't like, young Tracey was a mess out here. And so I just want to talk about ship wars. When you're in a ship war and your ship wins, take that W. And when you're in a ship war and your ship loses, take that L. So for example, if you're a Milo fan, LOL, you wouldn't be that, but follow me. So if you're a Milo fan, like, I know it's hard to, I know, suspend disbelief for a second. You watch soaps.
At the beginning, I was a Milo fan, but then when they got together, I'm like,
okay.
Belief that like I'm an amnesiac or like I'm an evil twin. I don't know if I can suspend disbelief for being a Milo fan, but I'll try.
Follow me here. Follow me. If someone is a Milo fan, not you, you've won the ship war, right? So you could absolutely still hate on Chillo, but why would you hate on Chillin? Right? Like, what does that have to do with your ship? The liaison J-Sam wars have ended. So unless you're hating on a tunnel, those ships have sailed. Let Sante live. Let whoever gets paired with Liz live. I get it. I'm not a fan of the current Liz pairing, but I actually want her in a good pairing. So I have actually always been a fan of Cameron Matheson and Laura Wright together. I thought they had chemistry when they did like the little crossover situation when he was still Ryan Lavery. So if you're a Sona fan, you won. Why are some of y'all talking about Crew more than I am? If Sunny is a prize, you won.
You know why they're talking about Sona? Because Sona's not working.
Yep. So your ship shouldn't hinge on hating Carly.
Mm-hmm.
Let me enjoy my Risa DeForce, who bangs the estranged twin of her dead actual true love. Because you know what? That's classic soap. If we're gonna talk about like what's happening on a soap opera, what is more soapy? This woman kept this man away from his family and got no consequences? Or this woman over here is about to bang the twin brother of her dead bestie? I'm just saying, if you got a W in your ship wars, take the W. You won. Sunny is the prize. Please take him. Then. I love the silence.
There's just, there's so many so many requests for suspension of disbelief in that. It was a little hard for me. Especially the Sunny is a prize piece. I struggle with that. I really, really do.
What do you struggle with more? Being a Milo fan or thinking Sunny is a prize?
Oh God. I will say I can't choose. Don't make me.
For me, it's Sunny as the prize because he's not at his best right now.
Has he ever been?
Or is he? Or is he at his best?
There's moments where I'm just like, Sunny, Sunny, Sunny. But now lately it's more like, stop, go away, go to the island, take a beat, take Nina with you. Because
I don't think a beat's gonna help him. I think that's my conflict, is that for me, Sunny's just never been a prize. He has, and I watch soaps like where I can also like find moments. There have been moments where I've been like, yeah, okay, Sunny, I'll give it to you, right? Like, oh, and like watching Scott and Sunny go grumpy old men on Victor. Like, I hate both Scott and Sunny generationally. And I love Victor. And that was very satisfying to me. But like overall, I just like, I actually don't. He is like, Sunny is different, but I don't think he's better or worse than he's ever been. I think he's the same level of awful. And then with Michael and Willow, they're both, I just can never ship something so boring. So it's like toxic or boring and also kind of toxic.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, that was just my PSA for y'all. Don't be like me. Be better than me in these ship wars.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm invested in any ship enough to be in a war with folks. So, but thank you for the warning. But since we're kind of melding into that a little bit, Tracey, what's not working for you? The ship wars is not working. What else is not working?
Oh snap! Okay, me again. All right, I'm ready.
Are you?
This will shock you.
Okay.
Men are not working. So, like, I appreciated what Sandra laid out, and what you said was like perfect. Like, when women are in charge, women are doing the thing. Mm-hmm. And that shouldn't be the exception to the rule. That should actually be the rule. So there are things that only male writers could believe that not a heavily non-male audience will want to see. So I think whether it's writers, the characters, or the actors that portray them, men are not working. So I'll talk about a couple of things. So I don't want to see Elizabeth be terrorized with very little agency in the situation. I don't want to see another male-centric love triangle in Carsona, especially now that Carson is over. To like continue to like play it as a triangle, whatever. I don't want to see Dead Baby Christmas followed by pill popping nuptials. That's not the romance in the afternoon I require. So let's talk about the character of Finn. So I'll put aside the fact that I think he has anti-chemistry with Elizabeth, but what his character did this week was a big yikes to me. Liz told him that she did not feel comfortable with him interrogating Jake. And then he turned around and isolated Jake from his actual family member, Monica, and then threatened to report him, whatever that meant. And so I understand that some people think that it was okay because Finn had good intentions, but I don't, because I understand that a man should never overparent a single mom. Elizabeth, if nothing, like, y'all have not really given Elizabeth much to do besides being a mom lately. And so to like have a man step into her like parenting was just not doing it for me. I didn't like that. So then let's talk about Sonny. What really stuck out with me for like Maurice and Sonny was like reading the Soap Opera Digest interview. And so I saw his perspective of Sonny and realized that is actually what puts me off about the character. So he believes that Sonny is right and in the right in his situations and portrayals. And that comes out in the portrayal. So you don't see like almost a shame or a sorrow or anything in the way he's playing these beats, which I think will be more satisfying because he actually doesn't think he's done anything wrong. And that comes out in both the actor and the writing. Because like you can write whatever you want on the page, but like in the same way, it was so weird, and I tweeted about this, that when Esme told Nicholas about the sex tape, Marcus had no reaction. It was like literally, I'm like, you just found out two kids who you've known your whole life, and regardless, like Cam is basically your nephew. Like you've known these kids their whole ass lives, and then you hear they have a sex tape and you have no reaction from it. Sure, on the page, scene could end, but you could be like, and then recover or something, but there was nothing there. In the same ways that we don't see like any kind of beats played with Mo and Sonny as like being like sorry for his behavior. And that is like the thing for me that's just really not working. Like these very male-centric ideas of what a largely non-male audience wants to see. And unless it's like women showing up, it's just not working. So that's what I have. Tanya, it's not working.
I put myself on mute because an ambulance was going by, but totally agree. Finn interrogating Jake just was not cool to me. I thought it was definitely some overstepping on his point. So I didn't like that. I won't belabor that. Laura's deputy mayor, I feel like she's so out of pocket. And this is why I feel she's so out of pocket, because I kind of feel like her role is similar to what I do for a living as a chief of staff for an elected official. And so for her to be like, you lied about what was in your schedule, and then to be following her and to be stalking her and listening to her meetings, it's inappropriate for an employee to do with an employer. And I was just like, that's just not right. I mean, if ever I see my boss doing something that wasn't on her schedule, then I figure, oh, she's got something she's doing. It's her business. I'm not going to be rolling up on her and being like, why aren't you at this meeting? That's just not something that I would do. And so as a professional in this kind of city life work, I felt what she was doing was a little off. And I know it was about the character, and I know I'm probably overreacting, but I didn't like it. And then also I did not like the fact that Laura told her what she was doing. It's none of your business. Why are you all up in your boss's business like this? It doesn't make any sense. Make it make sense. Sorry, writers, you guys are doing this wrong as a professional working for city employees. I didn't like it. So that was just off. Chaylin is not working for me still. Sorry. Why is Jason getting a memorial? He's dead. Let's move on, please. Okay, that's it.
Yes.
I will only accept the Jason memorial if we all agree we're not talking about him again after. Moratorium, please. That's the only way I'll accept it, and I won't watch it. P.S.
Right. Please tell us what day it's gonna be so I know what day not to watch. You better not sprinkle any teen scenes or Sprina scenes in the mix, because I will be pissed off at you if you're forcing me to watch this mess.
Now you said it, they're gonna do it.
Trina's gonna have to go to Jason's memorial because he saved her that one time.
Tanya, though, before I continue, when you said, now as a professional, I was like, as a professional, I was like, are you also working with a supervillain? That's why I thought the direction you were gonna go. You were like, as a chief,
I bet you some of the constituents think that way because I'm starting some mess and they are hella pissed, but no.
As a chief of staff, I would never work with a supervillain. Sure, Tanya. That's what they all say. Y'all can't like really hit the nail on the head on what's not working. I was gonna talk about Finn. Y'all mostly said it. I'll just say, like, I'm not a mother. I don't have plans to parent, besides, you know, my soap child, Spencer Cassadine. But what I do know is that, like, I do know about boundaries. I do know about, like, if a parent explicitly says, like, don't interrogate my child. Well, first of all, I'm not going to interrogate a child because I'm not a monster. But especially if someone really tells me don't do this with my kid, I'm going to be like, cool. We're good here. And whatever, like, it's like, I think Tracey, you brought this up, or like Elizabeth's like biggest anchor and like the most important thing to her at this point are her boys. And so like infringing on that just feels like extra violating when he's already taking like the focus and the storyline that should be about her. And I understand that probably like there's a reason why we're not getting Elizabeth's point of view. I think it's because of DID. And also because obviously there's a secret that has to do with her father that's part of this mystery, and I think part of the DID. And I still don't need this much of Finn. I could be seeing more of Eliz's kids. We could be seeing Terry. We could be seeing Laura. We could be seeing more of Sam. Like, the chemistry is not there. The story is not there. I don't know why. I saw in Soap Opera Digest, they had referred to, the writers had referred to Finn as a medical detective. He's approaching this as a medical detective. What the fuck is that?
Hey, Finn McBain, get out of here.
Yes, you are not John McBain, sir. That was several characters ago. So get it right. This is the second time you're being a doctor. You don't get to go back and be a detective now. We're over it. If you're gonna go back and be anything, it better be a vampire, okay?
I'd be into that.
Me too.
DID for Finn?
Yes, I want that. I just want everyone to have DID. I would like, the only way that I could get with like a Finn and Liz pairing is if their alters fell in love with each other. That's it. That's like wacky enough that I'm like, I don't even care if y'all don't have chemistry. I'll watch that.
I would love it. I demand it now, actually. Like, I want their fucking alters to just love each other. And I think it's also hard because these two people, these two actors, have actually had chemistry with other people and have been better in scenes recently with other people. So when you see Finn and Anna together and then you go to him and Elizabeth, it's like, yikes. But even the interaction that Liz had with Drew, and then she went back to Finn, I was like, oh, okay. And I think Cameron Matheson has indiscriminate chemistry that he just tosses around. He's just like, whoever wants this Kim, come get it. You know what I mean? Like, cousin, Monica, whoever wants this Kim, come get it. Laura Wright just happens to channel it better. I think it's because she likes corny people, corny dudes. Now, this is all up. I like corny men as well, very much so. And to know that she's with Wes Ramsey in real life and she has so much chemistry with Cameron Matheson, I'm like, Laura, I see where you're going. I feel it. I understand it. I live it. So this is not shade to her or to anyone else. I don't know where I was going from there because Sandra's face. Cannot believe that I said any of this. I'm just saying it was not shade. It was not. It was not. I can't shade her because I'm talking about myself.
It's a self-shade.
It was self-shade. It was self-shade to say, Laura, I understand you. That's why I also bought those earrings. But yeah, I don't remember where I was going from there because Sandra's face distracted.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Anyway, DID for a fan is what we ended up on. Caleb, actually.
Caleb and Imogene fall in love.
And keep Caleb away from Sam.
Right. I was about to say don't, but then I was like, no, I'm a Sante fan. Sorry. I got a little conflicted because we did watch those Caleb and Livy scenes from Port Charles the other day. And I was like, I'm gonna need to watch these by myself. I'm uncomfortable to watch with another person, actually.
I need to check those out. I mean,
You do.
Definitely do. Anything else that's not working as we continue to talk it through? All right. Sandra, I know that you're going to walk us through a little bit of the teen scene so we can deep dive more into the sex tape storyline, everyone's favorite. So let's do it.
Yes. So I'm going to start with a little overview of what happened day by day. And then we're going to just open up for a little reflection. There were a lot of little seeds that were planted this week and some that were unfortunately harvested. And so let's just get into it. So on Monday, Cam and Spencer clash about who made the sex tape. And so this sets the conflict and the stakes for Spencer's arc this week. If he doesn't face the truth about Esme, he will lose people he loves. Meanwhile, Carly and Joss run into Esme, who goads Carly into attacking her. I love how Carly was like, please, that's not attacking, bitch. Just you wait. And she uses that to get sympathy from Nicholas, who takes her to the hospital, and later on Spencer. On Wednesday, Joss and Cam deal with the continued fallout of the sex tape. Joss is harassed by a classmate played by Mo's son, Josh Bernard. Chaos realize that they are more recognizable in public together than apart, and it's awkward. Trina confides in Portia about Esme blaming her for the sex tape. We get a parallel, oh hell no, from both of them at various points in the conversation, which was amazing. Portia worries about Trina's compulsive need to defend Spencer and warns Trina that she has a bad feeling about these crazy white kids and to cut ties while she still can. At the same time, Esme works Spencer while Daddy looks on. She dodges his suspicions with her white girl tears and the fake, the bruise from Carly. It's actually from Daddy. With his guard down, Spencer accidentally reveals Trina's involvement in his off-the-books furlough. And Esme asks him to confirm that Trina lied to Jordan. Important point. We pick up on Thursday with Trina coming to return Spencer's gift and her friendship to him. Back to sender, unless he ends things with Esme. As Spencer pleads for more time to get his act together, Esme eavesdrops, plants the burner phone in Trina's purse, and calls the PCPD, anonymous tip line, like the KKK Karen she is. She interrupts Spencer's final desperate pleas for Trina to not walk out on him. Sprina's millionth breakup and the most devastating one, even though they've never been together. She attacks Trina, who walks out with dignity. Meanwhile, there are parallel conversations about Spencer, Esme, and Trina with Jordan, Portia, and Curtis, as well as Jordan finding out about this chaos sex tape from that shithead reporter, which is what I'm calling him from here on.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Friday, Michael is arrested by Jordan for punching the shithead reporter who goads him about Joss's sex tape. Leaving many of us confused who hate Michael because he sucks, but that was great. And I stand by that. We pick up on Spencer and Esme after Trina's departure. It's gloves off for these two now. Spencer demands that Esme tells him whether or not she made the sex tape. Esme tries to gaslight him, and when that doesn't work, we get a glimpse of the depth of her emotionally abusive tactics against him. She reminds him how alone and unloved he is without her. And as Trina said before, if Spencer isn't careful, Esme will be all that he has. Esme finds the inscription that Spencer wrote to Trina and our shared passion, Spencer. They have their usual exchange about Trina that they've actually had many times in like several scenes whenever Esme's brought her up. But there's an edge as Esme demands to know if Spencer slept with Trina. And he says, no, of course not. And you want to know why? Because Trina's not like that.
But if she was going, I would have been going.
Esme tries her usual tactic, like this is her last ditch tactic that she loves to use to storm out. And when he stops her, she obviously expects that he will beg for forgiveness as usual. But instead, he demands to know the truth. She leaves without confirming or denying. Spencer opens the book that Trina returned to him in his final shot of the week. So many feelings. There's like several different arcs going on right now. This is like the first time we're really seeing this storyline spread its legs. And really see the characters' individual journeys starting to play out. So with chaos, they're wondering like, who can we depend on? Can we even depend on each other? And can our relationship survive this? It's not looking good. Spencer's arc is about making hard choices and the consequences of not. And leaving Esme will be hard, even more so than he realizes, and he has to start digging himself out, no matter how hard it is. Trina is choosing herself, which is beautiful, admirable, and heartbreaking, and it's not going to be enough to keep her safe. And Esme, who is accumulating leverage and influence, and she's sowing discord. She's leveraging the bruise from Ryan and Carly, from Ryan and then Carly's temper against her, and to get sympathy for Nicholas and Spencer. So building the friendship, we know about friendships on this show, with Nicholas, and trying to get Spencer to do her bidding with Neva. Using the cemetery meeting against both of them. There were so many flashbacks to that and references to that. So we know it's going to be coming up soon. And then using their distraction, Sprina's distraction with each other to further frame Trina. And then we also see, more characters being brought in more explicitly. Carly, Portia, Curtis, Jordan, the shithead reporter, and Michael. So we've been on a really big journey this week, just the week alone. And so I would love to hear about like, how were you feeling about the storyline at the beginning of the week? And where were you at with how we left things, like having gone through that whole journey? And, was there anything that surprised you along the way?
Yeah, I was surprised and disappointed in Spencer for telling Esme the secret. Like, because now she can use the secret against him. And I thought it was leverage that he had to prove Trina's innocence. And now he just gave it all away. It was almost the same as my disappointment in Laura telling her business to the henchwoman. I mean, why are you giving away stuff you don't need to be given away to? I mean, Esme's been proven to not be trusted. At least I thought. I thought Nicholas was smarter. I mean, Spencer was smarter than that. But yeah, I didn't like it. So I thought, in the beginning, I thought that Spencer had something to prove Trina's innocence. And in my mind, when Esme goes running to the police, and it would have been a moment for Spencer to come to Trina's rescue, prove that he's not in love with Esme, and then he and Trina could go happily into the sunset in love. But no, he had to ruin it and tell the secret. And now Esme's going to use it. And now we don't know if they're going to get together as soon as we like. So I'm just super disappointed in that. I'm also like, now I think, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like Trina is way more at risk on this than I had originally thought. Cause I thought, Esme's shenanigans was really immature and not well thought out. But now she's planted evidence. She knows what Trina's alibi is and is going to use it against her. It's just not going to look good for Trina. She's going to have to she might actually be held in jail or something for a minute because of these shenanigans. And that's crazy to me that it would go this far. So hopefully, Trina's dad will step in and be like, oh, hell no, double hell no. But again, we don't really want the men to be the rescue. I want it to be Laura and Ava and Portia to come to the rescue. So now it's just like, it's all complicated. And Esme is really on this no, this bitch didn't attitude, because I'm just like, all throughout the week, I was like, what are you doing? Stop it. No, not stop it, but more like, I don't like you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That is a very incoherent rant that I had.
I'm just like, yes.
It was very coherent. I understood I followed you on the whole journey. About everywhere you went, I went to. I thought a lot of things. The biggest one being, damn, this is a lot to Tatiana to step into. They're about to have her arrested on her first day. What's about to happen?
Right.
So that was the first thing. I also wonder how much they're gonna make this about race, if at all. Mm-hmm. To have the white girl call the police on the black girl who's never been in trouble. Because in the conversation that Trina had with Spencer, she always talks to him about privilege, but it always skirts race. So it was your Uncle Victor will do this for you, but I don't have these same resources or whatever. But it's never about you actually are a rich white dude and I am a young black girl, and this will not happen the same way for us. So I wonder, as they include legal aspects to it, if that will be part of it. And then I think, in the same ways that I was men aren't working, I don't know if I should say non-Gen Z men or something, because there is something about the way that Nicholas portrays Spencer that allows him to take these really big swings and let us be disappointed, and then brings us back to earth. Excuse me, with his character. So in the same ways that I was Mo actually believes Sunny, Sandra and I were talking is this method acting? The dude on Succession? If I think that Nicholas, hearing him in interviews talk, it's been really clear that he's understood the shortcomings of Spencer. And as an actor is trying to find the ways for people to have sympathy for Spencer, because there are times when he is not a sympathetic character. And that's why we get those beats him holding the book or slumping his shoulders or really looking devastated, because we could be so mad, did you just say this shit? And then be oh, but look at him. It is a skill, because he understands that this was a mess. And so that also really struck me as being so disappointed that he was so dumb. I was I can't even call Cam Sweet Simple Cam this week. It's Sweet Simple Spence.
Sweet Simple Spence.
Sweet Simple fucking Spence. But also seeing that and remembering who he is as a character was like, oh yeah, this is actually why you're like simple in this way. Like you are cultured and traveled and whatever, but emotionally you're really simple.
Yeah. I like the side note. I noticed something really great about how Nicholas Chavez is playing it. I can see similarities between Spencer as a little boy and Spencer as a man. It's just like so it's like so on point. And I just have to give a shout out to Nicholas Chavez on that, because I'm like, you're playing it very similarly to how Nicholas Bechtel played him, and it's refreshing to see that. So I like that. But yeah, that's on the side.
Yeah, that continuity is really important. I don't know if he's like since gone back. I know he didn't want to get too
much into it. Yeah.
And what I actually see from him is a lot of time with Christopher Nicholas.
Mm-hmm.
Which has been like, I was like, give my child the dad he deserves. But like, that has been really like good to see. But I think a lot about how the teen scene was like very PG before him and Esme came in. Like they have been through a lot. They've like lost 2 members of their kind of squad, to like one to cancer and one to like mob violence. But they weren't allowed to like actually be older. And in some ways, the kind of kids quad that was like Joss, Cam, Emma, and Spencer almost had more drama than these set of teens did pre-sex tape. And so that's just been like a really interesting parallel for me too.
Yeah, I can see both like the continuity. I feel like one of the skills that Nicholas has is knowing what to emphasize about Spencer and when. And so like you can see like the little boy in him in like these like really like pathetic moments where we remember like, oh, not only was Spencer this like precocious, funny little child, he was also like really like sad and lonely and, you know, missed his mother. And you can see that in some of the more like kind of pathetic portrayals of Spencer. But I really saw Tyler's Nicholas in the exchange with Esme, the final exchange with Esme. Because like I also was very upset with Spencer at the beginning of the week. Like Monday, I was like, oh my God, why does Cam look so much smarter than you? This is embarrassing to me. And then when he gave the information to Esme, I was like, honey, I will apologize for a lot of things, but what we're not doing is giving information to the enemy. You know better than to give Esme information that you don't know, that you don't need to. Because like just last week, he was hiding the burner phone. He hadn't told her about his little, you know, off the books furlough. And so when he was manipulated into telling her, it was like after the bruise, like she showed him the bruise and all, you know, had her white girl tear moments. I was just like, oh, we've gone back so far. How are you going to come back from this, my child? And then he did, with the, you know, both with the patheticness of his, like this, the heartfelt pleas to Trina, which, you know, again, that couple has always done so well of like us understanding what and agreeing with both their point of views and the conflict that we feel like we felt as conflicted about their relationship leaving that scene as they did. And so hats off. But also what was really important was that final scene with Spencer and Esme, where we finally got to see Spencer like be a Cassadine. And it reminded me so many of like so many different scenes with Tyler when he was playing these kind of like mind games with his scene partner and you know, like weaponizing otherwise innocuous phrases against people. And so we both needed to see Spencer suffer, honestly, for his mistakes, but we're also seeing like, all right, we're seeing some shift in him that we've needed to see as an audience. It's not necessarily what Trina asked for him to do, but we're seeing the actual proof that he doesn't believe Esme and that he's not going to play along with her games anymore. Now, was it the most strategic thing to do? No, because not only has he lost Trina, but he's also pissed off Esme. And that look that she gave him at the end was like, bitch, you're gonna pay for this. Yikes.
Yeah, it was rough. It was a rough look. Just Miss Tyler Christopher. That's all.
Yeah, because I will say what I appreciate about Nicholas and Nicholas, and by Nicholas I mean Marcus Coloma's Nicholas, is this is his range, you know? Stupid.
I was gonna you're gonna say something you appreciate.
I was like, what's happening here? I said nice things about Michael. You said nice things about Marcus. Like, get out of here. This is Earth 2.
This is his sweet spot, playing a dumbass. So it was the most believable performance I've ever seen from him. No notes. Keep being stupid. Fine.
The second one being chained up to the bed by Ava.
No, that's not it. I don't actually want that.
I believe that a lot. So I was like, this is believable.
I didn't look at it long enough to see if it was believable or not. Because like at first I was intrigued. I was like, oh, someone's getting tied up. Okay. And then I was like, oh, Marcus.
I was more like, yes, Ava. Like Ava. Marcus Coloma just catches so many strays on this podcast every week. Because in one of my free-for-all hot takes, I just said, damn, I guess it's Avery's turn to embarrass Marcus. Nicholas has done enough. Like, why does he just keep being in scenes with people who are so, like, just, anyway.
Well, because everyone else in this storyline is actually really great. And that's a testament to, you know, casting at GH. It's a testament to the actors, that when, you know, it's quite jarring when one person isn't really, you know, pulling their weight. But I also, just to spin it back to the positive, it's like, this is really like a teen scene storyline that's going to have so much ripple effects. You know, we saw a little bit of that with the Stalker storyline and kind of like this new, you know, Nicholas Chavez's Spencer kind of being that bridge between the adolescent storylines and the adult ones. But now this is like really, really going to bring in a lot of different legacy family stuff that we haven't been seeing that connection with. And so I'm looking forward to it in that way. But I think, as you brought up before, I am like, wow, we're really just throwing Tabiana in the deep end on her first week, which we'll talk more about that, you know, in predictions. But this is, what I will say about how they left things, I thought I would want a break from Trina just to like have a little transition time. But I actually found myself at the end of the week being like, I need to know what happens. Like, I need to see the next part of this journey for these characters, even though I am nervous about the storyline. I am so invested that I can't wait longer than a week to see Trina. And that's the power of actually good storytelling. Now, there's details in the story that drive me bananas, like all the details of Esme's, you know, plot against Trina just like make very little sense to me. And I hope that the writers don't try to shove this forward the way that they did with Peter to make us believe that this should make sense when it so clearly shouldn't make sense to anyone.
Yeah, I require that this story like does not have people believe, like, what I need from this story is that everybody is like, how do we prove that Trina didn't do this? But I actually, to be honest, don't know how characters who would believe Trina did this shit are gonna recover, because they're not gonna recover with me.
No.
So there's that. Good luck to all involved. I'm watching you.
I'm very involved.
I'm watching you.
Yeah, anyone
And everybody can catch it.
Yeah, anyone that even wavers.
God help you.
I really loved that whenever Cam said, you have to blame it on me because otherwise there's only two people who it could be, your girlfriend or your crush. And Spencer stood up and he said, how could you say that about Trina?
And Esme.
And
Esme.
Who I have considered probably did this. But
not my crush.
Not my crush, who is just my friend, because she won't be anything else to me. God
You know
knows.
why? You want to know why?
She's not like that.
It's not like I love
really,
just not like that.
I can't get over this boy having Esme plan this party. Like, I just really can't get over it. Like, did she rent the photo booth too? Where are the photo booth pictures?
Everything. She probably did every last thing.
She rented the mechanical bull. She put down the deposit for it.
All of it.
Is one of the photo strips of Spencer and Trina in Spencer's cell?
Yes. And he's using
And
it
now
as
he's
a
gonna put it in a book.
He's using it as a bookmark because he's gonna read the book now.
But he will also know what page he's on because it will have dried tears.
Yes. Yeah.
Parenting is so hard.
Making little notes in the margins. I'll talk to Trina about this if she ever talks to me again.
If you walk away, my world will be gray. My God.
It was devastating. My God.
I was like, who wrote this? Who hurt you? Whoever wrote this, somebody. Whew.
And those were Nicholas Chavez's Spencer's last words to Sydney Mikayla's Trina. And those are our words to her.
It was rough.
Yeah, buddy.
Really rough.
But she said to all of us,
oh,
I hope that you live up to your potential. So that's all we can do. We gotta live up to our potential because Trina said.
Trina told me. I gotta live up to my potential. What's the next question? Okay. I thought you were guiding us.
Oh, sorry. We covered a lot of the questions. But if you had to pick like the breakthrough moment of the week on the storyline, like the breakthrough moment that you feel like changed things for you, what would it be?
Yeah, good question. Oh, it was, it was interesting to watch Spencer try to pretend like he thought it was Cam. Like the indignant, why would you do this to Josh? Like, Spencer, get the fuck out of here. Like, good and well it wasn't Cam. And ending the visit with being like, I know who it was. Like, that for me was a really great moment. And then I'm gonna just say, Esme was not prepared for Carly's level of crazy. Esme is a psychopath, but Carly is an entitled white woman.
Yes.
Okay. And that level of crazy puts them on damn near equal footing. And so she was not prepared for what Carly was like, bitch, I ain't even hurt your arm. When Esme was screaming, Carly was not moved. Some people will be like, oh my God, I can't believe. Carly was like, I didn't even hurt her. It's the same vibe as me being like, Spencer just was giving Avery a gift. That was the level of care that Carly had for Esme's wrist.
And when Carly said, I have resources that you couldn't even imagine, Esme was like, Because you know what? She has not been doing a good job of covering her tracks.
Wait, but then Esme was like, is it still Corinthos? Your bed won't be cold for long. This is Corinthos. Like mother, like daughter.
That was when I had my hot take, or she's on this, oh no, this bitch didn't business, because I was like, how you gonna talk to Carly like that? You girl. That would be like me being like, that'd be like me if my mom would be like, Tanya, come here. I'd be like, what? That would be like, no, she didn't. So yeah.
Is that calling your mama a liar? She's not having that. Like you told an untruth, maybe that's what you can say, but not liar. I'm also interested. Like I am really interested to see how like any kind of race dynamics play out. Like, is there going to be a conversation? Because they've talked about race very at a distance, and it hasn't been weaved through the story. It's just been mentioned every once in a while. And so I'm interested to see if like there's something about the fact that Carly could have that exchange with Esme, but Portia couldn't.
Portia can't, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm interested in seeing what that looks like. Also, let me also like throw in, I forgot this thing about Sprina, when Trina was like, you were leaving creepy gifts around town for kids, and my initial thing was to be like, Trina, it wasn't, and then I was like, you're right.
And you know what? Your child did the same thing. He started to be like, oh, you know what? I'm here because I've made mistakes and I'm just gonna stay here and take it. So you know what? You're right.
Twin reactions, like,
and that's how you knew this is my child. For me, I think it was really the Spencer and Esme, their second scene, their last scene on Friday, and in particular, like both her kind of like abuse tactics, right? Like she's done all kinds of abusive things to him and to lots of other people, but like seeing that dynamic of her feeling like she's losing control over him and reminding him, you would be nothing without me, basically. And that love is about putting one person above everyone else. And how normally that works with Spencer, like he immediately will be like, you're right, you've done everything for me, all of this was for me. And he was like, okay, so was all of it, so did you do this for me? And how he didn't allow that manipulation to work. And that's like that's a really powerful moment when you're in an abusive dynamic, when you're in an abusive relationship. Doesn't mean that he's out or safe or any of these things, but it is him taking his power back. And I also liked it as like the contrast again between Esme and Trina. Like to Esme, love is putting one person above everyone else, not questioning, only looking out for their interests. And for Trina, what love is for her is putting your values into action. You know, it's like love is an action versus it being a noun, which is like, you know, reminds me of All About Love by Bell Hooks. So putting a little Black feminist love in there. And so when Spencer asks if Trina wants him to break up with Esme for her, Trina corrects him and says she wants him to break up with Esme because of the things that she's done to the people he loves. And for her, that love is an ecosystem. It's not a hierarchy. She says, don't do it for me. Do it because she did this to Cam and Joss. And because of the things that she's also doing to me and to these other people. So I loved seeing that kind of come full circle when Esme tries all of her tricks and they all fail. It was very satisfying and helped so that I wasn't just left with grief after the Sprina scene. We needed a little like, oh, victory, even if it's gonna bring more drama next week.
Oh, how the turntables turn.
They turn. How they turn.
The other thing I wanted to say, because you know, like folks are at convention now, and so I was like looking online, and there was like a panel with Eden and William talking about like the sex tape storyline, and I remember like the even our takeaway wasn't about them. It was really about like how they left Trina. And I continue to feel like I hope that GH learned from that, because those kids, like Eden and William, put a lot into that scene to be comfortable with each other, to like have that first scene together on screen, for it to like be overshadowed because of a writing and editing decision. And so I really hope that that lesson, because I think that it wasn't just like a Twitter thing, people were upset, people were like mobilized, they called the hotlines, like there were articles written about it. So I'm hopeful that this will like be more respectful to the performances of especially the younger characters. Like I you know, they are they're giving up a lot to be there. You know, like it is a great opportunity for them to be on TV, but like they're in school, they're these things. And so if they're gonna put their all into scenes, I really hope that we are able to like appreciate the work that they put in, because they definitely put in a lot of work.
Oh, Joss in that scene with Mo's kid. Woo!
I wanted to fight.
I wanted to fight. There have been many day players I have wanted to fight since they've started this storyline. I want Ryan to kill that shithead reporter. I want him to kill that little Matt kid, that
little Chromecast kid.
The Chromecast kid. And sorry, Mo's kid, you gotta go too.
People were like, bring him back. Yes, bring him back for Ryan to kill him. Yes,
That's
absolutely, bring him back. I want him dead.
He was hella creepy and believably so.
I couldn't, like, you know, obviously the level of detail I went into, I don't know if you know this about me, guys, but I watched these scenes many times.
Oh.
All of them, many, many times. And I had to skip over those. I was like, I actually can't. It's too triggering. And I get, it's like, I'm to the point with the impact on Joss of like, I get it. I can't keep seeing it. It's like, I need to see it in different ways. I can't continue to see her scenes be so blatantly disrespected by so many men. I need something else.
It is, I mean, Eden is like really holding her own.
Oh, she's doing a phenomenal job.
She is, I mean, it is, because every time she's on scene, I just feel for her. I'm just like, and it's like hard for me to like separate because I like Eden. So I'm just like, don't you treat her like this. Okay, it's Joss in this storyline. And don't you treat her like this either.
Right. Right. Yeah. And William too.
Yeah.
I've been like feeling for him. It's the most I've cared about Chaos as a couple. Like I've always cared about the characters individually as much as I give, you know, I love to tease Cam, but you know, I'm invested in these characters individually, but I've never been invested in their romance. And this, don't worry, I'm not a shipper, but I could feel like the conflict that they were feeling around like, how do we navigate our relationship now? And is our relationship strong enough? It was like the first time where I felt like, oh, there's real juicy conflict in this relationship that I would like to see play out.
Yeah, there are stakes. There are stakes, and you can tell them, and you can also tell the like actual real life care and concern that the two of them have for each other that comes through in the moments that are like less romance and more like actual genuine care and concern. Like that just like shines through so clearly. So I am actually personally surprised that it took that turn for me as a story. And it's a complete testament to the acting that has been put in by those two characters.
Yeah. I am like, I'm kind of left with like, what questions do we have about this storyline? I think one of the things that is coming up for me again and again is like, how is the cemetery rendezvous for Sprina going to impact them? Because I thought they would keep it a secret between the two of them, and that Spencer would have to decide whether or not, because like to come forward because it incriminates him. But also it's also incriminating to Trina,
Right.
He made her an accessory.
It's
Right.
like, I feel like now that Esme knows, she's going to use that against Trina and be like, if you tell the truth, you're going to put Spencer in jeopardy. So you need to cop to this crime. Like your only alibi is the cemetery. And if you tell the truth, you're going to have Spencer get in trouble. So you can't tell the truth.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be her alibi and that Spencer would like have to make a decision about like whatever. But now I see it as more the accessory piece that Esme will use against Spencer, not against Trina. That's like, so like the flip of like my perspective of what it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like the secret that like whatever, and now I'm like, oh no, this is like like actually like an excess to the crime. It's like a, you know.
Yeah, I think that my guess now is that she will use it to blackmail Spencer into staying with her. Because the vibe at the end of that was definitely like him being like, I'm not fucking with you anymore. Right? Or at least signaling to her, you can't control me the way that you used to. And what we know about abusers is that when they can no longer control you the way that they have been, they escalate their tactics. And so I think the only way that she could continue to get him to go along with the relationship or anything she wants at this point is blackmail. So that's what I think. But I am like very much, they dropped reference to that so many times, whether it was flashbacks or directly talking about it. So, you know, GH is not subtle, for better or for worse. But any other lingering questions before we move on? As if we really could ever really move on from the teen scene, but move on to free for all hot takes.
I mean,
we'll talk. Yeah,
I need more time to think about it.
Well, we'll be getting to, you'll have more time because the storyline's gonna be playing out for forever, and also we'll talk about it more in predictions. So, someone else, hit me with your hot takes.
I only have a few actually, and I usually have many. First one, why aren't Chase and BLQ just together? Get these two in an adult relationship. Sad. I love that Britt and Brad only had champagne.
I love them.
Champagne for my real friends, real pains for my sham friends, which is a basic ass toast I've said many times. I will also say it was really nice to see Selena Wu and Curtis in scenes together. It really showed that like multiracial doesn't have to include just white actors with a person of color. And the actors work really well together. There's something about the way Lydia Look portrays Selena Wu that's like, just, I don't know, it's like the way she moves on screen, it's like sexy and sinister, it's mysterious, it's a little playful. She is the mob queen we deserve. And I love it. And I hope that we see a lot more of her. And I'm also watching GH for how that portrayal looks like. But anyway, really love Lydia Look, love what she's bringing to the role. Hope we see a whole lot more of her as we build that family out. I'm really confused about the focus on blood relations when it involves Harmony, because Harmony wouldn't be blood related to Wiley. So like Nina like going to Harmony kind of didn't make a lot of sense to me as being like just like, we're gonna make this power play. And also like if I was a Nina fan, I'd be just furious about the way she's being written. I actually am just really confused as to what's going on. I'm the kind of person, like the way I watch soaps is like, I have my faves and I have people who I like love to hate, but I also like don't just want to always hate somebody. Like I want to be able to like have something I root for people. I don't want to always just be saying negative things about them. So like, I feel like I go over, I'm like, Cynthia Watros, looking really good. Like, see you with that leg out, girl. Because I have nothing to say about Nina that's like positive. And I'm really confused as to like why they are writing her this way. I was really neutral actually about the Wiley like visitation situation because I didn't understand. I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe, you know, who knows. But like hearing Willow's perspective really brought me to be like, oh, I get it. Like, this is a person who has like lied to us before. This is a person who has like showed herself to be super untrustworthy. She shouldn't be around my kid. And it wasn't like the last time we really saw Michael and Sonny in conflict, it was over Avery. And it was like another kid in the middle. And I wasn't a fan of having that happen again. But this time I was like, oh, I actually hear Willow's perspective, and it isn't just about the affair. It's actually about Nina as a person. And having Nina like continue to scheme actually only proves Willow's point. Yeah. So, I appreciated the dig at American public transportation from Anna. Like Felicia was like, stuff is late all the time, you know, whatever. Anna was like, this is Austria, okay? Shit is on time over here. Y'all got them late ass buses and subway in America. We're not doing that over here. I appreciated that. Those are my hot takes, and my light might go out. So there you go.
Oh no, there you go.
Perfect timing.
Wow. I had. Let's see. Yeah, Nina. I don't have good things to say. First of all, ma'am, don't be lecturing Victor or Valentine about trust, because
yep.
You ain't got nothing to stand on. Do not like it. Do not like that she's trying to run to you know, I don't like her scheming. I just don't like it. I'm like, can't she just sit down somewhere and do her job and sit quietly? She's talking about how she's not trying to bother anybody, and here she is bothering people. She needs to stop. Ugh, I don't like her. I thought New Jordan was being especially nosy, just listening to conversations. I'm like, why?
She was doing a lot of creeping. She was doing a lot of creeping.
Like, stop it. And I was like, is Willow having a heart attack? I don't understand why Willow being sick is going to be something. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Maybe they're going back to this whole who is her mama thing.
Yes.
I don't know. And then, you know, Michael and his boxing practice has really worked out because that right hook was amazing.
I was like, boxing practice? You mean his rendezvous with Chase at the... No, I was going...
The ship of my heart, Scheichel. I've never shipped anything harder.
Yeah, they're funny. And I just put, now he gets a memorial. Boo! Just this big old boo.
Tomato, boo.
No. Yeah, that's it. That's all I have.
I don't have much either. Alexis and Sean didn't want them to get back together. I've been on the record for that, but damn, did we really have to like really drive it home, like have a whole other scene for Alexis to be like, no, I'm good. I didn't need that. I'm sad to see Sean go. I did like their friendship. I would have loved to see him in the mix with all these storylines that are coming up, especially around the Cassidines. It seemed like they were setting him up for that, and so disappointment.
He was fine in that suit, though. That's what I got.
Always. Never any notes about that.
Always. Ooh,
that's a fine ass man. I'm not a fan of white men. I'm not just white men bursting into song. You saw how I almost stopped just at white men. I'm not a fan of white men. I'm not a fan of them bursting into song on my hospital show. However, I would be interested in a Chalin meets Eddie Main storyline where like Brooklyn is the songwriter since she can't sing anymore, and like Chase is the performer, even though I'm kicking myself because I'll complain a lot. It's not about Josh Swickard singing. It's just like I just don't generally like, I don't like it when they sing on the show. And I love music. I love singing. Tracey, you heard me singing earlier, right before, you know, the show started. I always sing before the show starts. But anyway, I just like the idea of them having like a light, slapsticky rom-com storyline of like, and you know, you can see the potential of them, their wacky hijinks as she tries to turn him into the next new thing for, you know, the record company, blah, 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 whatever. And so again, Chillin, I'm just trying to help you out. I'm even willing to have to listen to random singing just to get you on track with something. Okay? So don't ever say that I'm not generous to you.
I think they can move the storyline without him singing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's implied. It's implied.
I just feel like that's where you're going with it. So I'm running with it.
But I do like it. I do, because I've been long saying, like, what does Brooklyn do? Right. So having her do something musical and maybe Chase never being a cop again.
Exactly.
All my jam. All my jam.
I'd be willing to listen to Josh Swickard randomly sing if Chase is no longer a cop. But if he's going to be a cop and still singing, I'm going to have to draw the line there. That's really the only hot take I had. That's it.
Excellent. No notes. Great hot takes. Yeah. Did I say something? I think, did I say something nice about Michael? I feel like I had something that I was going to say about how, I said something about, but I am very excited to see Michael back in conflict with Sunny. I posted from my personal Twitter 2 videos that I was like watching in prep. So one was a video of Sunny talking to Billy Miller when we thought he was Jason, after Jason found out that Liz knew who he was. And Sunny was basically like, I would never forgive her. She kept you from, I'm one of the people that she kept you away from for months. It was like, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
About Liz?
Yep, about Liz. I was like, oh, how the turntables turn, Mr. Corinthos. And then the other one was just my peak, most favorite Michael of the entire run of Chad's Michael. Maybe actually of the character of Michael, when he was taking Avery from Sunny. And it was like after Sunny had killed AJ. And he was like, Corinthos? I don't think so. And you know what? Your name's too long. I think I might call you AJ. AJ Quartermain. Like, it was just like how everybody in the room looked that made me so happy it happened. And so I'm actually really excited for Michael to be back in conflict with his parents, or with Sunny. This time it's actually again different, because the last time he was in like a lot of conflict with both his parents. Like Carly was very squarely on Sunny's side. This time that's actually not going to happen. It was also Sunny had Morgan, who was on his side. Kiki was on his side. Michael kind of looked like the asshole. I mean, he was interesting, but he kind of looked like an asshole. I am struggling to understand what this like Sunny 2.0, where he like apparently integrates more Mike in and he's with Nina, looks like. And if they're gonna like create and force a situation where we see more Christina and Dante in his corner, because right now he doesn't really have a lot of family support. And the isolation of Sona actually is not good for the character. So I'm interested to see what that looks like, and interested to see Michael be in conflict again with Sunny.
You mean love isn't just putting one person above everyone else?
You know, if he listened to his nephew's true love, Trina, then maybe he would know that. But then that would mean he would have to visit his nephew.
Oh, he sure hasn't done that.
He sure hasn't done that.
And he can stay away, to be honest.
We don't need any more of his influence on Spencer, to be honest. great Uncle Victor and current and like regular Uncle Sonny, y'all stay where y'all at.
So are we ready to talk about the future? Okay.
Let us predict
the predictions. Okay, so oh Lord. So we're gonna see a little bit more of the Cassadine story unfold. We have Anna, Sam, and Dante updating each other on their investigations. Ava observing Victor as he regroups. Viva forever. Ava and Nicholas approaching Victor about what he's planning. We also will be seeing quite a bit of Sunny. He'll be on every day. And it looks like he'll kind of be weaving in and out of maybe a couple different storylines. So Sunny gets an unexpected call on Monday. Tuesday, Selena seeks him out at home. Wednesday, Ava and Sunny navigate a tricky parenting moment. Thursday, Nina seeks out Phyllis at Charlie's, but guess who she finds instead? I bet you'll never guess. And then Friday, Curtis seeks out Sunny. There's also a lot. We'll be seeing quite a bit of Curtis, Portia, TJ, Dante, Drew, Jordan, like folks that we saw a little bit of last week, weaving in and out of stories. I couldn't necessarily tell like where everyone was going, but we'll be seeing them, right? Like Curtis and Portia will be moving into their house, it seems like. Dante is working on, I don't know which investigation. There'll be a little bit of setup for the Deception launch, as well as a little bit more of Chase and Finn. And then we're going to pick up on Monday with Willow passing out. So the Willow, Harmony, Nina, and now Phyllis connection will be explored. Like Nina uncovers a connection on Monday, and then TJ and Epiphany treat one of their own. So I'm assuming that's Willow since she just passed out. Mm-hmm. And finally, save the best for last, the sex tape storyline spoilers. So Monday, we have Michael finding himself in some trouble, which I thought was interesting. Like, I hadn't really thought about Michael being a part of this storyline, but it also makes complete and total sense that he would be a part of the storyline because of Joss. It just shows like how disconnected they've had the teen storyline operating. That I'm like, how is Michael in here? Oh, that makes perfect sense. Alexis hears a pitch and is torn about whether to run the story. So we saw that in the preview, Carly talking to Alexis. We're assuming trying to get her to not run the story about the sex tape. Wednesday, Laura and Nicholas prepare for Spencer's homecoming, while Spencer is approached for an unexpected meeting at Spring Ridge. What I will say about that is Portia is in the spoilers in various points for the week. She's not in the spoilers for that day. And Curtis is also otherwise engaged on that day. So might we see Portia drop in and be like, by the way, stay away from my daughter? You mess? I hope so. Thursday, Nicholas tries to orchestrate a family dinner. Friday, Spencer's shocked by what he finds. And finally, Taggart and Portia check in with Trina.
That's when he's going to start to get in the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What are we thinking about these previews for next week?
Now you have me absolutely demanding that Portia go see Spencer and be like, stay away from my kid. I don't want to have to throw characters away for believing it's Trina. And I am cringing at that because I'm not fucking with you if you thought it was Trina.
Yep. That's real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's been speculation that Trina gets arrested on Friday, which is also the first day that we have a spoiler for Trina of the week. It's possible that we'll see Trina before then. It's just not in the spoilers. Like, when they reintroduced Jordan, it wasn't in the spoilers either, but regardless, it's still Tabiana's like first week. So like, I don't know if that's what will happen. It just also like the spoilers for next week definitely point to Trina's legal trouble escalating, and folks reacting to it. So I will say I have a lot of anticipation for this week. I'm very nervous. I also am curious about what things between Spencer and Esme are going to be like, and what it is that Spencer is shocked by what he finds.
I hope it's the drugs.
Yes, me too. I would love for him to find those drugs.
Oh yeah.
When I initially saw it, and this was before like we knew that Esme planted the phone already, I thought it might be the phone. But I hope that's what he finds. I would like for Spencer to really start openly plotting against Esme and to extricate himself from the relationship. That's what I really need to come out of next week with. See. And yeah, I'm happy to see Taggart again, because somebody's got to run a background check on this bitch. Come on, why hasn't it happened? I'm so tired. I'm so tired of all these rich people not running background checks on people. My God.
Insane.
Yeah.
Well, friends, that's what we got.
That's what we got.
That's what we got ahead of us.
I hope you live up to your potential.
Huh? I hope you live up to their potential. Oh, that's cute.
I hope you do too. Congratulations. Oh my God. And I think that's a wrap. That's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Stay
I'm getting
hydrated.
loopy.
Get your rest. Do your face masks, take care of yourselves. To both of you and to everyone watching or listening.
There you go. All right, y'all. See you next Sunday.